Example for momentum transport, we will discuss flow through an annulus. In this example, there is a steady state axial flow of an incompressible liquid in an annular region between two coaxial cylinders of radii Kr and R. As you can see in here, you have one tube in here. And then you have another tube in here. So the flow of the liquid occurred in between these tubes in here. But unlike the previous example where the fluid is going down in a circular tube, in this particular example in here, the fluid is moving upward in the annulus. So the direction is opposed to the gravity. Then we start with the postulation first. Postulation is the most important thing in here. The postulation is pretty much the same with the previous postulation in that there is a velocity in the directions of z, and this velocity in here is a function of radius, and then there is no velocity on the angular direction. Okay, and then the velocity on the radial directions is also 0, and then we also have P, a pressure, is a function of the z. Okay, so the coordinate in here is taken at the start point of where the fluid start flowing. So we take this point as 0, 0, and 0. And like the previous example, here we are dealing with the cylindrical coordinates. Okay, so in here we can say that basically this is the same as in previous example. So we make a system in here. Our system is basically the same with the system in the previous example. So it's a cylindrical shell of fluid as in previous example. Note that the fluid in here now is being limited to only in the annulus region, so the region between the inner tube and the outer tube basically. Okay, so if we do these things, then we will be able to get identical differential equation. Note that in here we don't derive it again because everything is the same, so you have to take essentially the same fluid shell elements in here. If I draw it in here quickly, okay, we take the same fluid shell elements in here, okay, and then if I draw it in here just for you to see, okay, so this is basically the fluid shell elements. Okay, the fluid shell element consisting of the fluid itself. Okay, if you do it like this, then you have to make a momentum balance again in here, and this one is phi zz at z equals 0, and then you put this one phi zz at z equal L. Okay, and then you also have another components in here and another components in here. This one is phi rz at r. This one is phi rz at r plus delta r. In this figure we show the velocity distributions and the shear stress distribution, but in actual we will not know the velocity distribution and the shear stress distributions until after you have solved the everything, as well as the quantity of interest. So if without repeating the step of the derivations for that for this particular shell element, if we just go into the final result of the differential equations, then this have the same form, the one that we derived in the previous example. Okay, so we will have something like this: P naught plus rho G 0 minus PL plus rho G L. This is divided by L and then multiplied by R, and this one equal to P naught minus PL divided by L multiplied by R. Okay, so far in here is the same, but the only difference in here is the modified pressure difference term. Okay, the definition differs. So the modified pressure difference in here is pressure plus rho G Z. Okay, in the previous example, this one is not positive, but it's negative. Okay, why? Because in here pressure plus rho G Z. Since the coordinate Z is in the direction opposed to gravity. So in the previous example, Z start from this point, okay, and then it goes down where R is the same. But in this particular example, the Z is starting not from that point, but instead from the bottom in here it goes up. Okay, so that's basically the difference between this particular system with the previous system, and we take the original coordinate 0 0 0 in to fit our system so that we can solve it easier. Okay, then with that equations in there, we can integrate that equations. Okay, I start from the left hand side of the paper to get more space. Okay, so this one is D R tau RZ is equal to P naught minus PL divided by L R dr, and then this R tau RZ will be equal to P naught minus pi L divided by 2L R square plus C1, and then this tau RZ will be equal to P naught minus PL divided by 2L R plus C1 divided by R. These equations in here we define as equation 2 for 2. Okay. Now we have these expressions for the tau RZ, and we want to solve for the C1. In the previous examples, we know that basically in the axis that the tau RZ cannot be infinite, but in here our boundary condition is a bit different. At this point in here, the liquid basically touch the surface. So the boundary condition is defined in terms of the velocity. The velocity of the solid is 0, and then also at this particular interface with the solid as well, the velocity is also 0. So we don't have an expression of the boundary condition in terms of the shear stress. Okay, so C1 cannot be determined at this point, since we have no information about momentum flux at fixed surfaces R equal KR and R equal R. Then what can we see from the system? What we can see from the system is that obviously, because the velocity at this particular solid will be 0, this particular velocity at this particular surface will be 0. But since there is a flow, that means that there must be a maximum at a particular plane or a surface at which the velocity will become maximum. So this one we define when the velocity becomes maximum as a radius r equal lambda r. Okay, so that at the moment we don't have this information, but we can assume. So there will be a maximum velocity profile at some unknown surface with the radius r equal lambda r. So the surface will particularly represent the cylindrical surface. Okay, so at this particular maximum velocity, the shear stress will be 0. Then we can substitute this value into the expression for the shear stress, where we basically put lambda r plus C1 divided by lambda r. Okay, because the shear stress will be 0 at this particular surface because the velocity is maximum at that particular radius. Okay, then we can continue the mathematical steps. And then we have an expressions for the C1 in terms of the lambda. Then your tau rz will be equal to this equations in here. And this equation in here is we define as equation 2.4.4. Okay. The only difference between these equations 2.44 with these previous equations of 2.4.2 is that the constant c in here in the equations 2.44 does not exist because it has been replaced by this lambda, and this lambda is actually a different constant in here. So mathematically speaking, we the mathematical form is equivalent, except that the constant c1 has been eliminated in favor of this lambda. But there is an advantage in here. The advantage is that we know the geometrical significance of lambda. Okay. I'll stop my video in here to keep it below 17 minutes. Then I'll continue in the next video, the next derivation steps. Thank you.